Good morning, Bristol. My name is Jason Williams, and I'm an urban designer with the firm of Milone and MacBroom. We're here on this sunny Saturday morning here in Rockwell Park for the Summer Festival. Milone and MacBroom planners and urban designers are working with Bristol and the BDA to look at downtown and what are some possibilities to happen in the former Renaissance development that many of you probably have been tuned into in years past, as well as someone I heard earlier, 50 years of planning for the downtown area on the corner of North Main Street and Riverside Avenue. This project is Bristol Center, and we're looking at potential development options. And I'd like to walk you through where we currently are and some of the options that we see really forecasted for the future.
What's wrong?
The Center Square project is an extensive collaboration between the BDA, Milone and MacBroom, and the public. A project like this can only be realized with public input. So an extensive public engagement process has been initiated and an online survey so that we can hear from the community what is really desired in the downtown Center Square parcel. Phase 1 of the project looked at conceptual bubble diagrams to really understand options for the site. This board represents the 6 beginning options for the site. Red being potential building development, green open space, gray parking, and tan would be public pedestrian hardscape. As we worked through the 6 concepts and heard back from the community, we learned that 3 of these options, option 6, 5, and 2, were really favorable. And we worked to consolidate elements from those options and broke them down into 2 further options. Option B, option A, and option B. In option A, access road moves vehicles and pedestrians through the site with building development centered around parking areas that could be used for food vendors, food trucks, future farmers markets, all surrounded by building elements and a public plaza with green spaces anchoring the corners with linkages to Brackett Park and further north along North Main Street. Option B looks at 2 center parking lots as well that would be used for public parking as well as tenant parking, retail parking with buildings along North Main Street to create that frontage, green spaces on the corner and in the northeast portion of the lot, as well as buildings up by the future Bristol Hospital Ambulatory Care Center. Option B varies from option A in that these concepts look at street diets or streetscape improvements, road lessening, especially along Riverside Avenue, which is currently 6 lanes. Considering narrowing that down, we know the car counts don't require 6 lanes. And most importantly, off of our access trail, a pedestrian link linking municipal buildings up to Main Street and then down to the 4-way intersection. From these concepts, we've moved into more realistic development options. From the bubble diagrams, we really want to look at parcelization and small development options. It's unrealistic to think that a developer may come in and want to develop the entire site, which we have seen before. These conceptual diagrams show phasing represented by color. Option A, taken from the bubble diagrams, and option B as well, show smaller development coming in phases, with option A, phase 1 being the initial access road with open green space for public events. The existing parking for usage over to the municipal buildings remains, and in orange, development comes in phases, with the green space remaining for public use. Development continues with a public plaza and additional buildings, and the access road connecting the existing parking. In phase 4, blue development comes in to really consolidate the entire site, and then moving down into the final build-out in purple where the entire site is used, keeping areas of green space for public use. Option B is very similar with a phased approach, moving into a final build-out that, as in Concept A, keeps existing parking for access to the municipal buildings. In both phases, pink represents the future Bristol Hospital Ambulatory Care Center. Bubble diagrams are a great tool to allow us to really conceptualize building massing and uses of the site. But looking things in more realistic terms on a 3D level really helps us understand what the site will look like as buildings come in. As we move through the phases, we can see our access road coming in with new street tree plantings and turf restoration for public use, existing parking as well to remain. Phase 2, we see our new parking coming in off of our access road with our new development buildings coming in. The idea that cars would come in and park and use the site, walking on the sidewalks, using the existing green space is really a tool to help developers realize that boots are on the ground and there's people using the space. Phase 3 identifies Bristol Hospital coming in and new employees to the area that will be looking for some place to eat lunch and to use green space during their lunch breaks. Additional buildings come in with our public plaza space. As we move into phase 4, our existing parking is converted into open space with our northern access road accessing the link between Riverside Avenue and North Main Street. Additional building development and parking increases the feel of a downtown network. And in Building 5, we have full build-out with new buildings coming in, parking for access for the municipal buildings, as well as tenant parking, new parking along the center core, hidden by buildings, so that when you are driving North Main Street and Riverside, you don't see a large parking lot, but you see green space running along the entire corner, as well as people in the public plaza. As we continue working through the public engagement process, we've just went through our phases of development, 2 full build-out, but we need to hear from the public, and we presented some options on what can happen in these green spaces. As I've mentioned before, getting people to use the site, which is currently not being used by pedestrians, is really a priority. And so there are options that as development stages progress, open space areas are developed and maintained by the city for people to get out and use the lawn spaces. Farmers market are an excellent option for areas with future parking as well as existing parking, and the possibility arises for 4-season use. Cross-country skiing lessons, Christmas in the park, Christmas tree sales, as well as temporary ice skating rinks are all possibilities to get people using the site in the winter. Pop-up theaters in the lawn, as well as temporary drive-ins, get people using the site not only during the day but also at night. Autumn time hay mazes, as well as sculptural features, mum sales, pony rides, pumpkin sales are opportunities, again, carrying us from the summertime activities into autumn, into the winter time. But then also on a daily basis, considering food vendors for existing employees around the downtown as well as Bristol Hospital. As mentioned earlier, Riverside Avenue is a 6-lane road that handles under 10,000 cars a day and can easily be converted into a more pedestrian pedestrian-friendly space with options for multi-mobility use as well as on-street parking and a lot more greenery. This concludes our current phase of conceptual development for Bristol, for Center Square, and we look forward to additional public input as we wind down on the online survey. We ask all Bristol residents to please go online and identify your concerns and what you want to see by going to www.bristolcentersquare.com/survey. We appreciate your help, and please contact us and let us know what you want to see in downtown Bristol. Thank you.